I'm Andrew Kirsch. I spent just under a decade of my career as an intelligence officer with the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. CSIS is in the news recently because of the new appointment of a new NSIA, National Security and Intelligence Advisor to the Prime Minister of Canada, as well the commencement of hearings on the foreign interference public inquiry. And I was talking to an ex-colleague of mine who raised an excellent point, and I don't want to take credit, but I also can't name him because he's still a spy, and so I will pass along his point and say thank you. What we found during the previous release of leaked information and what prompted this foreign interference public inquiry was information that CSIS had about foreign interference, and the questions arose about whether the government acted appropriately with the information that they had. And to a lesser extent, when we talked about the Emergencies Act and that CSIS found the act did not rise to the threshold of threat to national security under the act, and yet, the government invoked it anyway. My colleague said, Andrew, the number one job of an intelligence officer is to recruit people. You're going to knocking on doors. You're asking people to help you with your national security investigations. You are trying to build rapport. You're trying to build trust. And you're trying to get folks to give you information, sensitive information, or help you collect it. And CSIS failed to recruit the politicians to help fight against what they saw as a threat in the case of foreign interference. He looked at it, he said, this was a failure of recruitment. We had the information, we passed it along, we couldn't get people to read emails, couldn't get people to act in a way that they felt was appropriate, certainly that the leaker felt was appropriate. I'd say, and to a lesser extent, the Emergencies Act, CSIS found that this threat did not rise to national security threat, and the government went ahead anyway. And that might also have been a failure to recruit, to explain what CSIS is, to explain why it's important, to explain the rules, to explain the severity of the threat, to recruit politicians to act and respond in a manner that CSIS deemed appropriate, which it doesn't look like they did. So, there's a new National Security Intelligence Advisor, Natalie Durant, I believe is her name. I'm not familiar with the individual, but it goes without saying with this post, CSIS, your job is to recruit her. Natalie, your job, I believe, is to recruit the Prime Minister to take issues of national security and intelligence seriously, to advise and, have them act in a way that represents the threat and acts appropriately the threat that we face. Recruit. It was such a great point. He unfortunately can't make it himself because he's out there recruiting right now, keeping us all safe. So I will make it for him because I believe it to be true. Recruit. And where they failed to do their number one job, the organization ran into problems. Self-inflicted. Well, that's it for now. Any questions, info@kirschgroup.ca, or comment on issues of the day. Stay tuned for more videos. Until then, stay safe.